Oh, I spy with my little eye. I spy with my little eye. Oh, I spy with my little eye.
What is going on, everyone? It's Super here, and welcome to another Injustice 2 video. And today we have, I guess, more of a topic commentary. And of course, as always with these topic commentaries, or with any video in general, I'm always curious to know your opinion. So leave it down in the comment section, specifically talking about this topic that I'm gonna talk about, which is abilities in the gear system for Injustice 2. Now, this is, as the Injustice 2 beta went along, this became more of a conversation topic amongst players and amongst, fans of the game, because the gear system, I think, is a fantastic addition to Injustice 2. Just the different ways that you can make your character look, and everything about the gear except for the power-ups. To be honest, like the boosted stats, I'm not a fan of at all. I think it just complicates things a little more, and I think it sort of holds back this specific topic that I'm talking about, which is abilities. And abilities in Injustice 2 are something that I think is an amazing idea, because it sort of takes what Mortal Kombat X gave you with the variation system and mixes it in with pieces of gear that change the look of your character, which I think is absolutely genius. When we first heard of the gear system, everyone, including myself, were skeptical at first, because when it comes to something that is going to change the way your character plays, there's always like a quote-unquote pay to win that comes to mind. So for example, I played the Call of Duty franchise for many years, and they started doing these supply drops in Advanced Warfare where they would add guns that you can only get from supply drops. That turned games like that into pay to win. The more supply drops you buy, the more chances you get to getting a specific gun. So that's what the first thought came to our minds when we heard about the gear system, having these loot drops for gear and having those things change your stats and character stats and power you up, give you more defense. But luckily, NetherRealm thought ahead, of course, and has the competitive mode, which completely takes away the effects of the gear to make it only be cosmetic. But that's where this discussion comes into play, because I think the abilities that you get from pieces of gear in Injustice 2 are some of the most fun and unique things about the game, because like I mentioned, it gives you different options that you normally wouldn't have as a character. So it's pretty much like if you have different variations of your character. So you have 5 custom loadouts, custom classes that you can make for your specific character. You could have pretty much 5 variations. Of course, we didn't have too much variety in the beta. That's why I'm showing you guys footage from the Watchtower yesterday for Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman, because they showed off 2 different loadouts that have completely different moves from the default characters. But when the full game comes out, we're going to be filled with a bunch of different moves, abilities that sadly, because of the way they designed Injustice 2, and I don't know if they're going to change this at all, but competitive mode currently turns off all stats that the gear gives you, rightfully so, because I played in matches where it's just not fun doing 4 times as many combos to finish off a character than I normally would. But when competitive mode gets turned on, you lose your special abilities, and I don't know, that's why this is more of a discussion video, because I don't know how they could implement that without it being too much, if you know what I mean. From what I've seen so far, none of the abilities that I ever got in the beta were overpowered at all. I think most of the abilities were well balanced, and most of the abilities were something that either, made a character a little bit better. I'll give you guys an example. I use Atrocitus a lot, and if the person did not want to turn on competitive mode, I would use a move called Blood Push, which replaces the blood vomit which hits high, and the blood push actually hits mid. So if I do, one of my strings into blood push, the opponent can duck it and like poke me afterwards. Whereas if I were to use the vomit, the opponent could just duck it without blocking and then punish me for it in certain situations. So this is another example right here. I thought this was a really funny like ability that you get with Wonder Woman. That walk looks so hilarious. I was watching this Watchtower live stream live, and everyone in the comments lost it when we saw this. It was absolutely crazy. It looks really funny, but it just shows you like the different types of abilities that you're going to be able to get, changing the way your character plays. And you guys have been seeing throughout these pieces of gameplay the differences in Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman. So for example, the clip that just passed before the armor walk was Wonder Woman gets an ability where she gets a slide, like a mid-screen slide that extends her combos. It's really fast, and she also gets another ability where she does like a tornado spin, which you guys are seeing there. This is another like ability that you get from gear, and these are really cool abilities that I would love to use on my character, but I don't want to have to play non-competitive mode and have stats affect my gear in order to play with this, because it gives the game, the abilities give the game a lot more variety and fun. But to me, if they don't like maybe activate the abilities in competitive mode and allow you to sort of choose your variation, like that was their whole promotion of the game. You're able to create your own version of Superman, your own version of Batman. But with competitive mode and the way the gear is at the moment, linking abilities and stats with the gear in one combination, I don't want to play with a character that I have, or with a character that my opponent has that has 3,000 defense to my 1,500 offense, or in some cases with Supergirl 1,100 offense. So I have to do 6 times as many combos to finish it off, just to play with a couple extra abilities that I get. I definitely don't think that is that's something fun and worth it just to use abilities. So I guess my discussion in this video is, do you guys think that NetherRealm should allow abilities to be used in competitive mode? Take away all the stat gains, take away the 3,000 defense that people could get, 3,000 attack. If you guys remember one of my videos during the beta for Injustice 2, I was playing a Black Canary who was doing, I remember he grabbed me, and the grab did 25% because he had a 3,000 attack Black Canary because of the gear he had on. A regular standing 2-3, which is a 3 hitting string, was doing 32%. A normal string not canceled into any attack, 32%. So of course I guess what I want as a player is to, of course this is all casual talk, right? So in tournaments and stuff, they could have different rules, but I'm just more talking casually online and maybe even in ranked. I want to be able to play with my new abilities that I unlock for these specific characters without having to play with the boosted stats for the gear, if that makes sense to you guys. Like, do you guys think that NetherRealm should separate the abilities from the boosted stats? Because I think if they do that, and in competitive mode you could actually pick your 2 abilities or your 1 ability that takes both slots without the gear actually affecting your character's attack, defense, ability, health, all that stuff. That would make Injustice 2 so much more fun, and it would give the game so much more variety on a casual level. Because when I hop online, if we play competitive mode, no matter how different you can make your Harley Quinn look from mine, we're both going to play the same. And it's going to be the same gameplay, the same moves, unless we play with competitive mode turned off. But then once we do that, you might have 3,000 health, 3,000 defense, and I might not have, as good a gear as you do. So I might take 6 more combos, 4 more combos than I normally would to take off one bar of health. And that's something that I don't want. And I definitely think that abilities should be separate and allowed in competitive mode, at least online in a casual environment. There should be, I don't know about the pros, I don't know what they want to do, but just based on the abilities that we've seen so far, I think a lot of these abilities don't break characters. Like, there isn't one ability that I found online that was just shocking, where I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, at first glance, the unblockable super by Superman, where he comes down with a meteor on top of your head and it's unblockable. When I first saw that, I was shocked. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this shit's unblockable. But when you really think about it, supers in this game do like 30%. The opponent is sacrificing 4 bars of meter to get that 30%, when with 4 bars of meter, Superman could do 80% damage combos. So in reality, it's actually not that, there aren't too many benefits in using that specific ability in super, which takes up 2 slots of your abilities, and replaces your regular super. That's another thing. Abilities in this game sometimes replace the traditional abilities that your character has. So for example, there was a couple clips here where Harley Quinn was throwing her cupcakes on the ground. It was like a low attack. She was throwing her cupcakes on the ground. That replaces the upwards cupcakes that she could throw across the screen, which is a good zoning tool. So instead of doing that arc and throwing it upwards, going towards your opponent, you throw it low. And it looked a little bit slower and it looked like more startup time. But it looked like, obviously it was low. So you could interchange moves. And same thing with Wonder Woman. Her shield bash that she has in her default character gets replaced with the slide that you saw as one of her abilities. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the topic of the video. I want you guys to share your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think it would be unbalanced and a bad idea to separate abilities from the stats in the gear? Do you think competitive mode should just be strictly the base character with no abilities, no stat boost, nothing? Or do you guys think that NetherRealm should allow abilities in competitive mode but not the stat boost? Because I think we could all agree no one likes the stat boosts. Like, I personally don't like it. I know pretty much everyone that I know that follows me on Twitter, a lot of people in the comment section, no one likes the boosted stats, because it might be cool, it might be fun when you're playing versus someone who doesn't have the gear that you have and you do a bunch of damage and stuff. But when you play versus someone who it has like boosted defense and you don't, it's a real pain in the ass. So it's not even that fun for me, to be honest, when I have a boosted character and the person has like no stats at all. So it's not even fun for me that way. I'd rather just have the base character stats, but I do want ability to be able to play with abilities during competitive mode, because I think, like I mentioned, it brings such a unique feature to the game, and it would give characters so much more variety than just having the standard character, the standard base character moves. I don't know, this was a I saw this discussion on different channels that I watch, and I thought I would make a video on this because I really think that some of these abilities are just awesome. Like, visually they look cool. I mean, who's gonna really use that Wonder Woman like shield thing where she just walks forward? Who's actually gonna use that, right? But if someone finds a good use for it, it might be cool to see that. during a match, as opposed to seeing, you know, the traditional Wonder Woman stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. I just wanted to make this video real quick. Definitely went on a long tangent there because I think this is a very important topic to talk about, and it's something that I don't think we will see, to be honest. I think that NetherRealm is sort of keeping it safe. I think they're definitely keeping it safe with having abilities not be able to be played or used in competitive mode, because they don't want something to potentially be overpowered that a character has, that, you know, someone might take advantage of that another player doesn't have. But at the same time, they have control over balances and the way moves, you know, act, and how strong something is, how weak something is. So if something is too strong, they can nerf that ability. It's definitely something that they could do. So I think I really would want abilities to be able to be used in competitive mode and not have the boosted stats turned on. That's just me though. But that's gonna be the end of today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time.